When did the popular kid's life fall apart in a few seconds? Unfortunately, a cheerleader from my school had a four-wheeling accident that left her in an almost vegetative state. Through years and years of hard work on her part, she's been able to gain a little more independence. However, she'll never be exactly the same as she was before the accident. It's really sad and crazy how quickly your life can change from an accident. I graduated in '95 and shortly after, my mom asked if I knew this girl. I said yes. She showed me the obituaries. Apparently she was a passenger on a four-wheeler and the driver was speeding and made a sharp turn which resulted in her coming off the bike and straight into a tree. Died instantly. And that was a big-time reality hit to me. Fresh out of school and a girl I knew died. 3 popular kids went swimming in a quarry. Only 2 came out. It sucks because the one that died was popular for all the right reasons. He was a genuinely good dude. I was the weird kid, but his locker was right next to mine and he was friendly every single day to every single person. Something similar like this happened recently to a few guys that go to my old high school. It was like 1 a.m, they went swimming in the local river that goes through town and one of the guys drowned. He was nice and friendly, but not popular since it was a really big school. His friends allegedly planned his death, but there were no punishments for them. Was this roughly a year ago near Richmond, Virginia? Because we had a very similar incident happen. He started doing heavy drugs and fist fought the vice principal. Parents kicked him out at 18. Haven't heard much since. Did he win? The captain of the football team underwent surgery his senior year. I was 13 on the middle school team. His younger brother and I were very close, so I was around him a lot, so I looked up to him like an older brother. He drove me to early practices, was very smart, dated a pretty cheerleader, not a mean bone in his body, he had it all. For a 13-year-old, he was my hero. After his surgery he got hooked on painkillers. He went from painkillers to heroin. He was been arrested multiple times for theft and drug possession. This went on for years. I would always ask my friend from middle school how he was doing. It never got better. He died last year. Drugs suck. I miss my hero. Oh man, this breaks my heart. Edit, if you can handle it. The Pharmacist on Netflix is about one guy's battle against the opioid crisis. It's a heavy hitter but really good, and about situations like this. There was this kid that I went to high school with almost 20 years ago who was 2 grades ahead of me, seemed like the popular kid. He had a hot GF, he was really funny, decent at sports and didn't seem to have issues. Anyways, turned out one day his mom came home to him laying in the basement with a bullet wound in his head. I was told he used a shotgun to kill himself but loaded it birdshot. Because of this he didn't die. I now see him walking around town and he can't speak anymore and walks as if he had a stroke. One side of his body doesn't work properly. Really sad, and that's all I can think about any time I drive around and see him walking. You never know what people actually feel inside. You might wish you could be someone else because everything seems so perfect, but rarely is that ever the case. Guy on the football team sent a girl's nudes to the entire football team and a good portion of people in my grade. Got arrested during class. I haven't seen him since. Was the girl under 18? Distribution of child pornography? He got made fun of because he wanted to wait to have sex with his new GF, popular girl, so he caved and did it. Teen pregnancy. I think the term peer pressure gets thrown around a lot like it's some everyday thing you can shrug off, and it very well can be. But then there's cases like this where it can permanently affect or destroy someone's life or reputation. Peer pressure needs to be taken more seriously. When he hit and killed a state trooper on the freeway while the trooper was out of his car trying to remove debris from the road. Holy fuck. That's such a shitty way to immediately fuck your life up forever. You ruin someone's family, your own, have to live with that guilt all because you made a mistake in a split second by accident. No one wins. These types of things are so awful, but I really do feel bad for the guy. Unless he was drunk. Fuck drunk drivers. Were there signs? Was he speeding? I'm not sure I would call him the popular kid, but in some circles he was. He was a bit of an arrogant ass in my opinion, but had money and liked to spread it around. His dad was a wealth manager. Lots of friends/family/community members were clients. A few years after high school it came out that dad had embezzled millions. Their entire wealth was stolen from friends and family. This rocked him hard. Dad went to jail and he changed his name and totally became a different person. I saw him after that and barely recognized him. His personality and even his posture was different. I felt really bad for him. I ended up having a really good talk with him and I can only imagine what he has gone through. Edit, wow, lots of people have asked for details on location and was it so and so. Which tells me this has clearly happened before. I won't give any more details other than it wasn't in the US. His parents divorced and he started acting out. He went from good grades and clubs to failing and drugs. Shit sounds like me, except I wasn't popular. Reddit, my most upvoted comment is about my life falling apart in high school. Lol, love you Reddit, have a blessed day. When we walked across the stage, I was amazed by how much simpler university relationships were compared to high school. Popular people who picked on me in high school were suddenly desperately in need of a friendly face and it was all water under the bridge. Damn. I felt this in my soul. I always found it funny how many people wanted to reconnect just a few years after making life a living hell for me. Watching the ones who peaked in HS Spiral was kinda fun too. He wrecked his car into a wall and died on prom night. My sister had a kid in her graduating class that did something similar. He wasn't a great student and was at risk of not graduating, but he didn't want to disappoint his sister, so he busted his ass and passed his classes. When they told him he'd done it and would graduate later that week, he left the school, street raced, ran a car into a pole and died while his friends tried to save him. It was the saddest graduation I've ever been to. Not a lot of hopeful messages for the future at that point. Got hit by a car. Went from bully to paraplegic. She was a bully, nothing good to say about her, but that is a rough end. And that's how Regina George died. This happened when I was in junior high to this girl. She wasn't paraplegic, but she had brain damage and lost her fucking mind. She suddenly had some huge cognitive deficits, no social skills, and was unable to complete elementary school work, but her parents insisted she return to the same school she went to before the accident. Back in 7th grade I hated the shit out of her. She was annoying, mean, and physically violent. She still is more than a decade later. But now, looking back, I can't even imagine the horror show that is her life now. Imagine knowing all of your friends still, but having them basically abandon you and not really understanding why. Imagine being mid-puberty and having your entire perception of life destroyed. I kind of wish I could chat with her nowadays. Peace, M. He sent a video of him sucking his own dick to his girlfriend and then it was leaked to the whole schools. Is it possible to learn this power? Edit, just the giving yourself head part, nothing else. Her mom was diagnosed with dozens of brain tumors the beginning of our senior year, and died before Christmas. Girl went from stable, well-off and beautiful to a wreck, then off the map. After that, we lost 4 students violently, including 2 sisters stabbed by their stepdad. Staff quit. Pretty much no one in our senior class made it in life. Suicides followed graduation. 1999 was a really tough year for our school. Edit, thanks for the awards. RIP inbox. This happened in Snoqualmie, Washington, aka Twin Peaks. I am doing okay these days, despite a rough life. Can't say the same for the classmates that I did keep up with. Ongoing trauma is that much harder to process when literally everyone around you is grieving too. No one gets a pause long enough between deaths to ever fully heal from many of them. We did our best. 1999 was a messed up year for so many people, and I don't know why. I think about that Offspring song "Kids Aren't Alright" a lot. What happened to the 2 other students? Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.